Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you to the organizers for having me, and thank you all for being here. It's an honor to present my process and research to you. So, Interwriting and Intersign, it came about because of a question that we all ask, I think, to ourselves that are into writing. What is writing, right? So I would like to talk about writing from a writer point of view, because we often, and myself as well, we tend to theorize a lot about writing, but there is actually a lot in the action of writing, and there's so much that we can learn about it. So to explain what I mean by interwriting and intersign, and also interreading, I would like to introduce you to a framework, which is called the actor network theory that I'm taking it here, which is part of a theory by a philosopher, sociologist called Bruno Latour. That is a French philosopher, and it was developed around the 80s. So this theory, which I illustrated like this, that by the way, there's letters inside these, if you can find them. That's another story. I just can't seem to be able to not put big letters into things. So it's proposing the idea that both human and non-human, such as like objects, technology, ideas, holds equal agencies in informing and shaping society. So what I mean by that, it's the event of a birthday, for example. Can a birthday just be people? No, there's like so many other things and concepts and notions. And it's something that is all connected together. It's a network of things. So we do not exist outside of the environment we live in. And this is not the only person talking about this kind of relationship with the world with networks. There's also other philosophers that I won't be going through, but there's lots of already research and theories done on this idea of human on destroying basically and taking apart this distinction between human and non-human. Why all of this? I would like to do another test for you, which is about how we interpret and how we are part of the context that is around us. So if you see this, that it's my tag name, Feshat, and you might see as something that is coherent, right? That you can read, is done in a bold typeface. We're all able to read it technically, while something that is done like this is exactly the same letters, but it's done in a very different way. So you might call this coherence and something like this decoherence, right? But is it really? Because coherence is something that is in a pure state, let's say, like, for example, the wave function. But really, there's no truly isolated system. They do not exist, because like even something like this, you can understand it because now we're speaking in English, we're like in a certain context. I decided to use Helvetica because I know about typography and I work as a typographer. So there's like so many different interaction that we have and biases and experiences and context that we always bring with us. And nothing really is coherent. It doesn't really exist. It's just like an idea. So the real state, it's decoherence, which is the loss of information from a system into an environment. So we live in a sea of information, and every time we want to communicate something, so we want to interact with either a person, with a system, with another system, or an event, what we do is like take some of this information and giving it away. So we think of communication as a sharing information, while it's a loss of information. And this discourse, that's what I call discourse, which is interaction between systems. And also causes the loss of separability, like we cannot separate from the place where we live in, from the environment, from the materiality of our existence. And this causes the entanglement, which is when two particles meet and they affect each other, and even if they're separated very far away from each other, they will still retain some of the changes going through those particles. That's a very simplistic way of explaining it, but for the purpose of this talk, I think it should be enough. So that's where I see writing emerging from decoherence, because you come from this huge possibility. Writing could be anything, and you channel it into one. So you materialize one option, one possibility out of all of them. And this is decoherence. So even the difference between those two, is maybe not even there, it depends how we look at things. So talking about context, a little bit of context into how I can come about with these things. I'm a writer in the sense that I write on walls, I write on paper. I was trained as a professional calligrapher, so I've done lots of writing in my life, handwriting. I also do performances and I do research. So I also write things on computer, which is like something that it's part of me. I just cannot not write. So I would like to talk about writing from this point of view and the experience that years of writing show me. Something that is I find very important to mention, because nowadays it's everywhere, talking about context, it's graffiti or style writing. I prefer to call it style writing because the word graffiti has a lot of connotation. First of all, graffiti is something that is like scribble fast on a wall. And what I'm going to show you is not something that is like done fast and scribble. Also, graffiti is a word that was given by the culture of writing, style writing or street writing by the media. So it's not something that the pioneers were associating with, and that's the reason why. One of them that made like a good cause of that, it's Phase 2, which for me is the person I grew up with. It was like a philosopher of when I was a teenager, because in the magazine that I used to buy, they just like lots of lettering and writing. He would always write something about what it's writing and like what's the writing style writing culture does. So this is, for example, one of his pieces. And you can see that it's not simple. It's not something that you could do in, a day, or anyone can do. It's about the research of your style, using the letter, the letter of the alphabet that up to this time, it has been used just phonetically. So it's taking those letters, it's taking the alphabet that has been used as a colonizer instrument also, because everywhere, like the Latin alphabet has been spreading, like there've been, you know, things about, like also in the conference there's been stressing the idea of it might not be the best, well, I don't like really to use the best, the more convenient alphabet to use, but it has been imposed to like so many different cultures. So it's taking the elements, it's taking this structure of power and turning it into something else, you know, something like this, that is about style, is about evolution of the letter, and making it your own, like expressing something else that is not phonetic. It doesn't have anything to do with like phonetics. So it's kind of liberating this writing system. Another very fundamental figure in my research, it's Mazzilli, which, by the way, he changed at 19 his name, legal name, to that. And he called his name an equation, not even a name. Yeah, he was very mad and well, good for me. All of these people that, for me, they're like philosophers. You know, I hold them at the same place as other philosophers, contemporary philosophers, because what they say, that the theories, you know, the things that come in from below, but they're very valid. There's like knowledge in it. So I would like to, he works on like two different concepts. The one is the Gothic futurism, and the other one is this iconoclast panzerism. And you've probably been reading this. So the interesting things about Gothic futurism is that Mazzilli was saying that there's knowledge planted in the ground by medieval monks, because medieval monks, they understood that there's something else behind like writing and creating letters, illuminated letters. So they planted this mystery, these secrets on the ground, and the writers that will go in the subway to paint trains, they managed to get this knowledge from the ground that passed by the monks. And it was discovered by the writers, the train writers. So that was all the idea of Gothic futurism. And then there's the iconoclast panzerism, that is like the armament of the letter. You see out here, you have letters that are armored. There's like a page from one of his books. And everything is like, you know, it's a whole book about, and more things, about those ideas, and like mixing together equation, numbers, styles of letters. There's another page that you can see better, you know, all of his thoughts that he's using it. So I found this very, very inspiring and interesting, is as a way of taking something that it has been used to as a system of power, and reinvent it, and in a very creative way. So there's some of these alphabets. And this takes me to the word techne. Techne is a Greek word, as you can probably all know. And it's about like a skill form of making and practical knowledge. So now we have this massive distinction between writing and art, or like writing, where art is like superior than, you know, crafts or other things. But it's just like the Western culture that came up with this idea, and it's quite recent, so it's very historical, because in many different cultures here, quoting Daisy Zulu, because I'm doing some research with Pule, so we are comparing and bringing in some of the knowledge. It's more common throughout cultures to put everything together, you know, as techne. And that's also what technology, in a way, comes. So the other question is like, what is technology? And it's a question that I like to address. Because we seem to look at technology as something that's outside of us. It's not part of like being human. While it's something that's shaping us, you know, memory and writing is shaping us all the time. If you pick something up, then it's something that you interact with, as what I show at the beginning of the actual network theory. It's an event of things. I would be different if I didn't have pens and markers. And they have also an effect on me. It's not just me using the pen and controlling it. Depending on the pen, I have a different experience. Depending on the surface, I was writing, for example, standing up. Writing small with a small pen is a very different experience. Writing with a spray is very different because it's like you have to move your whole body. And so everything like really influences your action and what you're doing. Because something else about the style writing, it's that you're using the full body. So you're not just yourself and like a piece of paper in a comfortable place. There's like the context, it's very important because you might have to do it at night, you might have to run, you have to look around, there's no light. It's a very complex system and it's very evident in that kind of setting. So why does writing matter? Because today, an enormous part of communication and symbolic production operates through a system of writing or symbolic coding. So as Amalia also was saying this morning, we write more than ever before. Literacy is very high, but somehow writing has become invisible. We don't see it. All the images and videos that we get on our phone is like through systems of writing that arrive to us. But somehow it's become invisible because we're so disconnected from the action of writing that it's just something that it became like background. So for me, writing can be understood as a site where thought takes form, rather than simply a container for thoughts assumed to exist beforehand. So it's not that I am thinking this and then I'm writing. There's a transcription, there's a record of something. Writing can exist while like it changes you, while you're shaping it. It's a constant exchange of things. So can writing be reactivated as a practice, as a relational act between affect, thought, action, body and sign, and the environment, rather than merely a system? And here I'm going to interoception, which is the root, the base of the words that you saw at the beginning, interowriting. So I came across this neuroscientific theory called interoception, which challenges the traditional mind-embody dualism. So the fact that everything that we perceive, it goes through the mind. No, it goes also through the body. And it's something that we feel from inside, you know, so everything like that we experience in our reality, it goes through the body and the body has like a reaction to it. So an interesting part of the interoception research, it's the interoceptive illusion. Okay, which we can talk to me later on because I have important things to say. So interoception is about the embodiment, as I was saying. The embodiment means that it's space that gives place for being. So these are the concept of Cora, which right now I won't be able to discuss in anymore, but in case, come and ask me. Yeah, by in few words, Cora is a space that gives place to being, and different people's been kind of looking into it, and is a place where identity dissolves, separation dissolves, and meaning is never close. And it's also the countryside. So as we all come from the countryside, and we don't come from cities. And here is the Interosign. So the Interosign is something that I developed quite recently, and it comes from my notes on, so using the Latin alphabet and making symbols from that. So that's where it first originated. For example, this sign that I call Cora. That is the concept I was telling you before. And this is some of my notes. And for some reason, like I was writing like logo and then Cora, and that ligature of things appeared. And I thought, oh, this is a very interesting symbol for what I mean. And I felt that it would express quite good the idea of Cora. And that's one that I showed you before for interoception. And it comes from me writing this, and this appeared. And I thought, oh, that kind of represents the interoception quite well. This other one, I was trying to express an emotion that he was accepting. So you can see the first symbol is taken from Egyptian hieroglyphs, which is the nefer, which is like a zero, is perfection, is zero. So being in a state of acceptance of zero, and there's an A that is accepting, then there's a L that is let go, then is framed by the G, which is gratitude, and then this creates a place of Cora, and there's a resemblance to the other Cora's symbol, and it's all framed by love. So it's a way of trying to process certain emotions that it will take a long time to explain, but creating symbols, it feels like a way of not using words, because as you can probably notice, like I'm better writing than talking. Expressing it's quite unnatural for me. But we will look at this. And this is the practice side of what I've been talking. Oh, sorry, I've been going over. So this is like participatory session called Jammigraphy, where everyone is invited in writing. I was able to organize one in Cambridge recently. And there's music, so there's like musicians, so there's like a live jam that people can interact. Everything is improvised. And people is invited to write. So it just, that's what happened. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things I ever seen. There's different writing systems and everywhere different colors. Everyone was so into writing, and seeing people writing is what make me the happiest. There's another one that will happen like at another conference. So it's super interesting to have, you know, so many different, so many writing systems like all together. It's just so exciting. And well, that's the whole interwriting basically. It's all about this. That is part that like we're never outside the process in which we participate. We're always inside of them, and we're affected by them, and we modify that. We cannot be outside of our reality. We're part of it. Words are in the flesh, you know, not something that is outside of us. It's not just a system, like we are the words that we're using. And well, thank you.
We have some time for questions. This might be too personal a question, so feel free to ignore it.
Yeah.
Do you regard yourself as a priestess of Sesha?
Well, Sesha means she who writes.
Oh. No, I know just Egyptian.
Yeah, she's Egyptian. She's the original Egyptian goddess of writing, but also it literally means she who writes. So I feel like that's yeah. Just taking the literal.
Yeah, this is kind of like a bit of an observation too. It seems like to me, instead of talking about genetically modified writing, we're talking about linguistically modified genetics as well. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Thank you. Yeah. That's quite interesting. Thank you.
This was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I have a list of things.
Yeah. Go. Let's go.
From very super tiny details, I'm in love with your lowercase d.
Okay.
It's like beautiful. It's beautifully, poetically philosophical, the whole talk. And especially the Zulu perspective you mentioned. I have a colleague, she's Native American, and she talks a lot about Native American approach to practice-based
Yeah.
knowledge making.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not something that is out of this world. It's, as you said, it's the whole part of the process. It's within us already. So I'm just curious where you feel that your method, which is very organic and inherent to a human condition, where do you think you can take it away?
So yeah, that's a good question because like I like to introduce the jammigraphy. Like in fact, we were talking at a conference just this week in Poland where we were able to go from two talks that were about intero-writing and intero-reading to the jammigraphy, which is practice-based. So there's a really good way of incorporating like the theory into the practice, because like once you have this methodology and you have the music, it's much easier to like go and write, because like at the moment everyone I talk to is like, no, my handwriting is really bad. And or like, oh my God, no, there's like a page, a blank page, I cannot approach it. Well, we can all do it, you know, it's just like a matter of practice. It's not that you have to write, you know, this knowledge. Even the word home, you can write it in so many different ways and it's gonna be meaningful for you because like your idea of home is probably different from mine. And we all have different experiences of the word, as I was showing before in the map, that we all connected in different ways. And everyone can have, you know, a different experience. Now we have emails, computers, typefaces for legibility. So I think it's like a really good moment for handwriting because it can really be something else. Like, but until we just see handwriting just as a way of transcribing speech, it will never go further. You know, like there's so many things that we can do with writing.
Other questions? All right, well, we'll say thank you again.
Thank you.
And now